good morning or good afternoon, whatever time you guys are listening to us. My name is Adam Schnug, and I'm going to introduce my partner here, Brian Paul. Say hello, Brian.
Hello, everybody.
And we are starting the Layman's AI podcast, and we're glad that you're with us today listening. Today's episode is going to be an introduction episode, so you can get to know more about Brian and myself. So, Brian, why don't you kick us off? Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, career, and education?
Yeah, sure thing, Adam. So, my personal background professionally, I think we can go through with that, is within the automation industry. I started out by doing some wiring and some panel building for automated machinery and everything, and I've slowly grew into more field service and engineering and programming and doing everything on the test department. Recently, I've gone more into the PLC programming, or I have been doing the PLC programming, I should say. And right now, I'm working tech support for a major company, and I basically take phone calls and assist people with all their automation needs and try to kind of get into that aspect of everything right there. And yeah, just right now, I recently completed a course. It's a 6-month coding boot camp on AI coding and
Wow.
concepts and everything like that. Yeah, it was 6 months, 3 nights a week, 3 hours of class.
That's impressive. That's a
And
heavy commitment you did there.
yeah, especially when you have a wife and two kids at home, that's
Imagine
that tested a lot of things. But I'm glad it was over the winter, not the summertime. So that was a good thing right there. But just recently completed that, and right now I'm just trying to break into the industry at the
hmm
moment and trying to go through everything right there, and just trying to cut my teeth a little bit and trying to find more projects. And that's basically where I stand. Adam,
Awesome.
why don't you tell us where you're coming from?
So I've got a little bit of a different background. I graduated college, Youngstown State University, very proud of that. And I went into education. I've been in the education industry for 18 years now. It's a little weird saying that. I thought I would never hit the 15-year mark, and here I am at 18. I've done a wide variety of jobs in the education industry. I started as a teacher, middle school. If you ever get the chance, I highly recommend you do it. It'll make you a great teacher, and you'll certainly learn patience. If and then from
One way to
there,
put it.
yeah,
One
that's
way to
one way
put
to
it.
put it. You will learn a lot of patience being a middle school teacher. I've always said a good middle school teacher can become an elementary school teacher or a high school teacher, but I can't guarantee that a good elementary school teacher or a good high school teacher could make a good middle school teacher. But I know a good middle school teacher can move up or down because of what they see.
Yeah, middle
Uh,
school is like that awkward transition in life right there. So I can see how
it is.
that
You
could
have
cut your teeth pretty good.
you have the widest variety of kids in your classroom too, in terms of
Hmm.
maturity, size, everything. So it's a
Yeah.
lot. It was a lot of fun. It was not challenging. It was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed that experience. Then I became an instructional facilitator for alternative education. That was probably one of the most fun jobs I had in my career. Unfortunately, I only had it for 1 year because I was being pushed to go into administration, and then I started my career in administration. So I started as a middle school assistant principal, then I became a high school assistant principal, eventually moving from North Carolina to Eastern Pennsylvania, and I was a principal for 5 years, mostly during COVID. So got learned a lot during that experience, and currently I am a director of pupil services for Behavioral Health Associates in Eastern PA, where you have
Very nice.
nine education programs for students with behavioral needs, special needs, and therapeutic needs. And it's a heck of a job. And like you, I am also answering the question of, well, what can AI do in my industry in education?
Hmm.
I've done several workshops on AI and what it can do to help educators. I've done several workshops on the speed of learning, I call it, which is a very basic workflow that I teach you so that you can learn things and get to the understanding level very quickly. And that's been a lot of fun for me. It's almost like I'm back in the classroom teaching eager people, but it's mostly adults at this point.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, kind of teaching the adults to teach the kids, basically, sounds like.
hmm
But yeah, that's fun. Kind of, yeah, I think in the education, especially with the youth right now, with all the AI tools coming in, I think everyone calls it a game changer, but it's almost a societal shift.
I couldn't agree
In
more
the
with you on
way,
that one.
I mean, this like, I can't think of a bigger societal shift since probably once everyone had a personal computer at their home. That's probably, the biggest comparison I can think of.
I think you're right about that. Now, I'll say, based on my experience, I really thought COVID was going to be a game changer for education. I truly did
Hmm.
because it forced us to start teaching virtually,
Hmm.
and we really had to think outside the box. The only thing I think we messed up in education is we thought, okay, how do we take what we do in the classroom and make it virtual, which is understandable. You
Yeah.
do what you normally do. We didn't really explore what can we actually do with virtual education, and then we got back into the classrooms pretty quickly. And now there's this AI out there, what the kids
Yeah.
are able to do. And I've got a lot of statistics on this, as you can imagine. I read about it all the time, and
Oh yeah.
there's a lot of kids that want coached on how to use AI responsibly, which is a really cool problem to have in America. As a lot of our kids want to use it, but they want to learn how to use it properly.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. That's I mean that's a good thing to have. I mean, I know personally in the automation industry, we once COVID hit, I mean personally I take phone calls. So we were able to do that
mhm,
remotely pretty much almost exclusively. They've just pushed us back into the office quite a bit. They have the whole collaboration thing that every corporate America is basically talking about. And now there's a
mhm,
little seesaw battle back and forth on that. And yeah, so really the only shift we had was we actually shut down an office and moved over to like combine some offices and everything. And I think like what the corporate world really did with COVID was it sort of consolidated offices and opened up
mhm.
more remote offices. But yeah, AI hasn't really crept into the automation industry a whole lot. I was one of the professors in my class was telling me that, people in the automation industry are stuck in their ways, which I would say anybody in any industry is stuck in their ways in some point. You're not going to go to any industry where there's not people like that. But we're talking, when you're have fully automated factories, you have hundreds, if not thousands, of devices that are working in sync with one another.
Right.
And you introduce this whole new technology that no one's ever really dealt with before. It's not going to come easily. They're trying to find ways and what they can do and everything, but it's very, very calculative as to where they're trying to introduce all this and
Okay.
everything. And that's like what a lot of engineering is right now, because you have like such established practices and
Mhm,
to work something new. And I've seen a new version of the same software that does basically the same thing. People fight that for years and everything.
mhm.
And funny thing is, I've actually had phone calls where people call in wanting support on an old software that runs on DOS,
Oh,
which,
okay.
which,
Even me, the non-tech person, says, "Oh, that's a."
yeah,
I
I
don't want
don't.
to quite call it a rotary phone at this case, but
Yeah, it might have been that's more of the switchboards when you used to call the operator and they
oh,
used to like switchboard that.
plug you in.
And yeah, so yeah, you have people that are, but you're also looking at machines and factories that are building millions of dollars worth of equipment a year. And, suddenly you're going to interrupt production and everything. So it's coming along, but it's very slow to begin. So that's
Right.
kind of kind of my perspective onto everything. And, I was finally able to see, how AI is actually done with my class. So I'm pretty excited to dig deeper into that. But yeah, it's basically where I'm
So,
coming from.
so you're talking about digging deeper into it. Let me ask,
Yeah.
what got you started? Because I think the listeners we have, which right now I think is probably one or two.
Yeah.
So with
Yeah,
that said,
maybe.
what got you into AI?
Um, Survival. I'll be honest with you. It's
Okay. Yeah.
like you're gonna have to know it in some fashion. Like you're
Uh-huh.
like it's gonna have to be known. I think the old term, the genie's out of the bottle and it's not coming back. There's
Yep.
no more bottle anymore. Like
Yeah.
the bottle's destroyed, the bottle's gone. Like you either
Hmm.
find a way to accept this technology or you're going to be obsoleted. So that was kind of like a survival thing. Plus, it was just kind of that new horizon. What can I
Yeah.
do in my field with this new engineering and everything? Which that's just it's just exciting to me as to, like what it can do, what it could do, and when you start playing around with the LLMs and everything, you're like, oh, this is AI. It's like, no, this is a form of
No, it's a
AI
four. Yes, and we're going to talk
that,
about that in an upcoming episode.
oh,
Why
we're
the differences.
oh yeah, and that's like kind of the key is like, okay, this is a form of AI, but what really is AI? And you find out that it's actually been in service for a long time. Like these
Yeah.
concepts have been used for many years, and that'll be
Yes.
another deep dive episode. But this is not a new concept. This is just a new forms of it, and it's now becoming with all the computing power we have in these LLMs. Now it's just a new way we're introducing it to the world.
Hmm.
And yeah, what about you? What got you into this?
Oh, this is a funny one.
Okay, I like funny
So
stories.
I'm a high school principal at the
Hmm.
time, high school principal, and I'm pretty young. I know people can't see me, but I was a high school principal before I was 35 years old. I'm very proud of that. It was a
Oh,
fast trajectory.
no,
And
that's
so
good work.
because I was a young principal, I was pretty in tune to technology, in particular social media, as
Hmm.
well as cheating.
Ah,
So English teacher contacts me, got this kid cheating. I can't find where he's getting the stuff from. All right. So they send me his work. I take a look at it, do my normal vetting process. I can't find it. I'm definitely on like the second O in Google before I'm trying to find what this kid copied and pasted. I couldn't find it. So I called the kid down, read him a riot act. And I said, "Where did you get this? You don't write like this. Where did you get this?" And he said, "Jasper AI." And I said, I don't know what you're talking. Who's Jasper? I mean, I literally had no clue what he was referring to. The scariest thing about this whole process was I think ChatGPT launched in November of 2022.
mhm.
This was January of 2023 when this happened. So I think it
Okay.
was within 2 months of ChatGPT being launched, some of our kids knew about it. And then he
Mhm.
starts showing me what Jasper AI is. And if you don't know, it's very similar to ChatGPT. It's much more of a writing tool. And it's
Yeah.
pretty good. It's a pretty good writing tool. He's showing me this, and I'm stunned. He's showing it
Mhm.
to, we used up his credits while he was showing it to me. I then made an account with my email so that we
Ah,
could do more and he could show me more. He left my office after 45 minutes and, he got the detention, the zero, and all that stuff. But
yeah, yeah. All
it
the
was mostly because
disciplinary actions.
yes, I was very mad at him because he did not show me this when I was working on the first three chapters of my dissertation. So I was very upset with the young
Ooh,
man for that.
nice.
But that's how it started. And I actually had a moment where I said, wait, how do I explain this to my staff that this tool exists?
Yeah, that's yeah,
And that was
that's
a
a big
tough
kind
one.
of yeah, it's a big aha moment. It's like, yeah, this is happening. Like
Hmm.
like this is what's going on. Like this is what's going to be that it's here. I mean, kids know about it. It's very simple. I think I've already seen a lot of cases of it where uh I won't. We're not going to try to name any names. I'm going to try to refrain from doing that on the show. But there was a specific individual who had made a mistake, very high profile individual, and posted an apology onto their social media account.
Hmm.
And somebody typed in, it was like I think it said, write a revert apology for a repeated mistake into Chat GPT, and it was word for word what they
Word for
posted
word.
on their social media. So
Uh-huh.
it's like people are starting to get like busted by that because because as you know as a teacher, you could tell like when someone writes a paper or anything and suddenly they're like Shakespeare, there's something going on
Absolutely.
there. Yeah,
Hmm.
so and I think that like kind of like we were talking about changing the game, if someone's plagiarizing like a direct speech or a direct paper or anything, you can easily search that. But now AI is doing its own
No,
thing and nothing is, copyrighted or anything, which is kind of a scary thing.
a little bit. A
A little
little. It
bit.
definitely. I had my moment where I sat there and
Hmm.
said everything just changed. I had the moment and I said everything just changed.
Hmm.
And that night I went home and discovered other tools, and I've been hooked ever since.
Hmm.
I easily give up 3 to 4 hours just learning different AI concepts, different AI things that are out there every week, and I love it. It's like being born again, but also, as we're going to discuss, there's a dark side to this.
Oh
And
yeah.
some people aren't talking about it, and some people are, and I think that's part of our responsibilities to make sure that we are talking about things honestly.
Yeah,
But
I know. That's
before we get too far into that, I did want to
yeah.
say we should tell our viewers, how do you and I know each other?
Oh, okay. So I think I actually thought about this very deeply. I'm like, when was the first time I met Adam? And it
I think
was
I remember.
Pee Wee football.
Pee Wee football for the Chiefs.
We were the Chiefs.
We were the Chiefs.
Mr. Brew was the coach. You
That's right.
were we were the offensive linemen,
Yes.
and that was like the first time I met you. And I think you went to you didn't go to my elementary school. You went
No,
to
I did not. I went to Mount Carmel.
yeah, UK. Yeah, I went to
Yeah,
the
I went
Catholic
to Mount
elementary
Carmel for
school.
then middle school. We were together, and we you
Yes,
remember we rode the bus a lot
yes, we
together
did ride the
because
bus.
we lived like 2 streets away.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah,
we walked home from practice as well sometimes,
that's
and
right.
just kind of chatted about it. And I'd always joke with everyone, like, "Man, this guy wants to mow lawns and everything, and he's only like 14 years old. This guy's an old man already."
And then and then
Didn't
I
mean
go
to
to
bring that
college,
up.
and my nickname was Grandpa. So no,
Uh,
anybody surprised on that one?
there you go. Yeah, but yeah, we went
Hmm?
all throughout high school and everything, and yeah, I think after graduation we kind of went our separate
Yeah,
ways and
yeah.
everything, and yeah, now we're kept in touch with social media. I mean, I
Hmm.
gotta give them as much of a pain as it is, and
Yeah.
as much of how do I say it? As much garbage as it is right now, I think it actually allowed us to stay connected, and here we are doing this podcast,
And I'm
which
laughing
is
because I
interesting.
swear the main reason you stayed in my social media was because you were posting stuff about I remember you when ChatGPT started doing photos and images, we were commenting on each other's photo. We hadn't talked to each other in about 6, 7 years, and there we
Yeah,
were commenting with that, and that's how this all
yes,
started. And then you
yeah,
just said, "You
and
want to start a podcast?" And yes, let's do that.
yeah, we were just like kind of bouncing off each other, and I think I told you I was taking the class. You're like, "Oh, I'd love to collaborate, maybe." I'm like, "Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool." And then I think we were just sort of. It was your latest LinkedIn post. We were just kind of chatting back and forth, and
Hmm.
I'm like, "Wait a minute, we should do a podcast."
That's right.
Like
Two totally
that,
different backgrounds. Right.
and we can come in and we can just kind of blend it together. And I think, yeah, I think that's how social media brought us together, and
Yeah.
just our fascination with AI. I mean, I'm excited as to what it can bring. I mean, I know there's a
Yes.
dark side to everything, which if you go back in history, I think this is like another going to be another episode. Like, how does AI compare to these other moments in history, like radio, TV, etc. Um, it even goes back as far as the Gutenberg printing press. I think we can go back
I
that
think you
far,
can. As a former social
and
studies teacher, I think we can on this
it,
one. Yes.
and that's hey, we're gonna write that down as another episode. I think that's gonna be that should be a good one
That is
right there.
let's start with Gutenberg. I could do a 5 minute one on that.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's I mean, just like a passion for what AI can do. And I'm trying to bring the positivity. I know you're always trying to bring the positivity too. And you're trying to like I see you seem to be sort of steering into the skid
Mhm.
as far as education is concerned. And I had fun, with the image generation, which ridiculous images, AI generated nonsense. If you want to check out my
It's so much
uh
fun.
old Instagram, it was it was very random things, but yeah, it's just I'm excited where to go. I'm excited on where
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I think that takes us to what's the purpose of this podcast. And I think when you and I got together, and it's funny how quickly we whipped this together. uh,
Yeah.
we decided that we really want to talk about the impact that it's going to have and
Hmm.
talk about the truth. And we also said we wanted to make sure that everybody understands it. Because I
Yeah.
will share with you, I can tell when you're watching videos on AI or reading the research on AI, you
Hmm.
probably don't need it translated as much as I do because I'm not from the industry. I'm not from the tech industry. Though I'm getting better, I definitely understand an LLM. I know what that is now.
Yeah.
I know how that operates. I even know how it's
Hmm.
trained. And I know most of
Hmm.
our listeners probably don't. And that's kind of our goal is going to be how do we explain this to you so you guys can use it as a tool to help you get your time back, do things more confidently because there are positive purposes of AI. There's
Yeah, definitely.
definitely some game savers out there. There's some tricks, some tips that we can do
Hmm.
to help you with prompting. We've all learned these, and I've learned a lot personally by making my own mistakes. I'm going to say, buying into the hype train
Hmm.
when AI,
Yeah.
I fell for a lot of stuff. And I bought 2 books on AI and prompting. And by
Hmm.
the time I received that first one, I realized the entire book was written by ChatGPT. It was nonsense. It was not
Hmm.
good. The other book was absolutely fine for about 3 months. Then everything changed.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm gonna kind of curb the expectations of my knowledge. My tech background is a lot different than the coding background, but I
Uh,
am attuned to like Python coding and everything like that.
okay. Hmm.
That's a lot of what we've done. I will admit, and I'll say this right off the bat. I am not an AI expert, AI coding expert.
Right.
I would like to be one maybe one day, but I really, just like the coding boot camp kind of touched on all the concepts and everything and what's going on behind the scenes. And I got a kind of a peek as to, how easy it can be to, create fake data, how easy it can
Okay.
be to, insert biases. Like if you're trying to
Into an
ask,
LLM, like,
yeah, like into an LLM.
oh,
Yeah, I'll give kind of a couple examples. My one class, I did a machine learning model on meat consumption patterns for all the countries in the world. And, we went on to a website, we got the populations from the countries from X year to X year. And then they also had a meat consumption per capita of like beef, chicken, fish, etc.
okay.
And we started to like put the model together and we forecasted, how much beef is America going to consume in the year 2029 or something like that. And we started to put these models together, and when we looked at the Excel sheet, we're just like, okay, we're going to do the 10 most populous countries in the world just to kind of start off, just to get an idea. And when we sort of cleaned the data, parsed it and everything, we spit out the top 10 populated countries. Lithuania was the most populated country in the list.
Oh,
And I have a Lithuanian background. I'm like, Lithuania is not the most populated country. This is with the
hmm,
US, China, India,
yeah.
etc. And we looked at number seven was the Maldives. And
Oh, of course.
I'm like, my hometown has more people than the Maldives. And I live in a small town just north of Akron right now. So we realized that this was not a reliable source of data. So we had to
Right.
go find another accurate source of data. And if you don't source the data properly, that's how easy it is to
Yeah.
really um, get false information out there. And
I
it's
know
easy to find false information.
I know we haven't planned too far ahead, but there's no doubt in my mind an episode on validating the response from
Hmm.
AI is going to be
Yeah.
a topic because that is something that I love coaching on.
Hmm.
I really enjoy it, and I could tell people this is how you could spot almost immediately if something's wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't think people realize that the more you focus your prompt when you're dealing with an AI tool, the
Hmm.
less likely you are to have a hallucination or a response like that. But there's
Exactly.
even tools now where you can upload the data you wanted to pull from. Like a layman like myself can go
Hmm.
on, get the academic research I wanted to pull from, and it'll only pull from that. So you're less likely to get a hallucination or where it says the Maldives is the seventh most populated
Yeah.
country in the world.
Yeah.
So there are ways around that, but it's still tricky. You never trust the response. You got to validate it.
Yeah, you always have to check your data, and that's yeah, data is another topic I'd really like to get into because that is the heart of AI. It is data.
Hmm.
Data, data, and more data. That is the heart of all of it. And that's where you can easily manipulate it. If, someone's sitting at the right computer, they can easily manipulate that data. So yeah, just yeah, that was an eye opener as to how easy it is to find false data out there.
Then I think we're going to see many examples of that as
Hmm.
even if we were to test a tool live or do it during a show, I'm pretty sure we would find a hallucination here and there. Another thing for me with AI is consistency. I'm blown away at how sometimes it works it perfectly the first time you use the tool, and then the second time you're going, this didn't
Hmm.
work the same way. Or if you
Yeah.
keep a thread open in ChatGPT, how the same thread almost becomes confused and it doesn't do what you wanted it to do the first two
Hmm.
times. That
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody talks about that, it seems. Consistency of performance.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like, I'll admit for a lot of my projects, I use Claude to help me code. Like when
Uh-huh.
I'm like trying to do everything coding. And what I found out, and this is just kind of like my experience, the shorter the task you ask AI to perform, the more accurate it's going to be. Like you
Right.
have to like it can write code for you, but you still have to understand coding. Like you can't
Right.
just say, write me a program for a social media app that does this, 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 and this, and boom, copy paste, I'm a millionaire. Like I'll tell you that that's not going to happen. There's going to be
Oh, there's so many YouTubers that
all
are
kinds.
listening that are going to be so disappointed to hear I can't
Yeah,
just
I
write
know.
a prompt and become,
Hmm.
earn 10,000 a month as a side hustle, write making journals and selling them on Amazon.
Yeah, yeah. That's another funny one. Another group's project. they did a fake job advertisement detector and used a built an AI model on that. So that's
Oh,
that's always a fun one right
I
there.
I
But
like that.
yeah, so yeah, it's really, even though you can use AI to code, you still have to understand coding. You
Right.
have to, like, even though you can use AI to help you write a paper, you still have to write a paper. Like, I'll admit my
Yeah.
bio on this podcast right here, I wrote it, most of it, and I, wrote the whole sentence structure, everything. That I told AI, I told what is it, Gemini, clean this up a little bit, and it kind
Hmm.
of tweaked it a little bit, but it was still my
Yes.
writing and everything like that. So
Yeah.
I think that's where my whole thing with using these AI tools is, you have to understand it first, and then this can make it better.
I agree with you. And I'm talking from an education standpoint, and I'm a little bit of an outcast in this one. I see nothing wrong with a student doing what you just did. If a student was to tell me, I wrote it, but then I put it in a Gemini or a Claude and asked it to revise it for clarity, then I reviewed it, edited
Hmm.
it, and turned that in,
Hmm.
you're still doing the work.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
still doing
that's
the work. And I know some diehard people out there that say that's cheating. No, it's not. It's like asking a friend to look over a paper for you before you turn it in.
hmm
I'm also a guy that has no problem whatsoever if a student says, I need an outline for this essay. Please get me started. And the essay
hmm
needs to have these things in it. And if the AI provides you an outline and then you use that outline, edit the outline to actually make your response yourself, I don't see anything wrong with that either.
Yeah, well, that I
You're
think that
using
goes,
it as a tool that you're supposed to do.
yeah, like a calculator. Like, are we cheating
Right.
by doing calculus on a calculator, or do
Do you
we have to
remember in
write it all on
seventh grade?
papers?
You remember in seventh and eighth grade when they would say you're not going to have a calculator in your pocket when you
Hmm.
guys are older?
Yeah,
Wow.
now we have a computer in our pocket.
Now we literally have a computer that could take a picture of the math problem and solve it for us.
Yes,
We don't even need to
and
use the calculator.
and broadcast it to 10 million people.
Yes. Yes.
And that's the whole thing. And yeah, just a question as, like, from someone from an educator's standpoint, is homework irrelevant now, do you think,
Oh,
with
so
AI?
here we go. Here I go on my pedestal. Homework
Uh,
been irrelevant
hmm
for probably since we were in school. It's just nobody really, it was more like you do it because we had to do it.
hmm
I do find homeworks irrelevant. I didn't give homework as a teacher. I quit giving
hmm
it. I
hmm
actually said to myself, this is nuts. I'm an adult. I'm not going home and doing more work that I did during the day.
Yeah.
So why would I do that to my kids? But I also got lucky. I got into that flipped classroom concept where you would like record your lecture prior
hmm
to the kids coming in. So the kids' homework was, hey, watch this 3 to 5 minute video that I put on YouTube. And it was
Okay.
basically my lecture. Well, what was nice about that was the kids would watch that, then come into my school, and then I would do the homework part with them live. So they had me there and I could help them out.
Okay. Yeah, that just kind of makes me wonder, like, now, like, you're supposed to write an essay for, English class. But I mean, now, like,
Hmm.
you want to write it in your own words. It's like that's not going to happen now. Like, kids know they
No,
can
it's
use
not.
AI, and it's like, well, you have to have those responsible parents that will make sure the kids don't use AI. I mean, I don't have to tell anybody
What
that's a fantasy world.
Yeah, I'm laughing hysterically. I got two boys who play sports. I could tell you right now, when my son came home with what I consider to be an absolutely ridiculous project where he had to
Mhm.
combine three different parts of animals and pick an environment that this animal would live in, yeah, guess who pulled out ChatGPT and showed his kid how to use it that night
Oh yeah,
properly?
oh
Properly.
yeah,
But still, I did it as a time saver.
yeah.
But I mean, it is what it is. We have this wonderful
hmm
tool. We should use
hmm
it like that. But I do think in the years to come, education is going to kind of take a step back in terms of we're going to actually start to have conversations again.
Yeah.
So you use this AI tool, explain to me what it said about the Great Depression.
hmm Yeah.
And then can you regurgitate what it was? What was the key? Or if you read, it's still going to have to do Upton Sinclair's The Jungle. What was the key concepts of this book if you're talking about it in English class? I
hmm
think we're going to go back to that verbalizing and that actual engaging conversation piece.
hmm Yeah, that would be nice. I know, in the tech world, there's even reports that coders or entry level coders are being replaced by AI. And I'm kind of, on the fence about that, really.
Hmm.
I think if you're an entry level coder, I would say, use AI as an assistant. It's not going to do it all for you, but it's going to get you, up to par faster. It's going to help you, build, those skills a lot faster. And if you have an error in your code, you just, copy the error, paste it in Gemini or Chappy GPT or whatever, and say, okay, what is this error telling me? And I did that so many times with a lot of the assignments I had to do. And it says, oh, this part of your code is outside of the loop. Change these indents and boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, oh, that's all I had to do. And, there used to be a time where people would sit there for hours just staring at the lines of code.
Yeah.
And
And
I've
probably changing things that really didn't need to be changed, I'm assuming.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I'll try this, run the code, and then it runs. It's like, okay, that didn't work, change it back. And sometimes you would change one thing, change another thing, and then it's like, okay, you should have gone at step two, you should have taken the fork that way.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
and I can tell you, like I've written, ladder logic and function block diagrams, and when you stare at that code for so long, it all starts to blend together. And if you have this tool that could just say, okay, what am I missing here? And it says, oh, you're missing this and this, and then it kind of takes away that writer's block
What
from you and moves you forward.
what types of code were you talking about?
Ladder logic and function block diagramming.
I think I'm
It's
gonna say if our name is the Layman's Podcast, the Layman's I think I can honestly say, speaking on behalf of everybody, what?
Yeah, yeah, I know that's there might be some people that quite understand it, but it's
But
basically
to
coding
put
languages.
it in a regular language, it's
Yeah,
proofreading. It's just on a different genre, if you will.
yeah,
You're coding.
and yeah.
Versus if I'm writing a fantasy novel, which, by the way, I do feel that ChatGPT and Claude would be phenomenal for helping you if you get writer's block with this stuff.
Yeah, that was my
That,
other thing. It's like, if you're a writer, you use to clear your writer's block, and then it like,
yeah,
breaks the dam and the logs start to flow down the river again.
yeah.
That's where I think it is very useful.
Yeah, there was an AI tool I used. I think it was Jenny AI. It was another
Hmm.
one where I bought into the hype, and it wasn't a bad tool. It really wasn't. It
Yeah,
just wasn't what I thought it was. It was my fault. I didn't do enough investigating. But that did a very good job of when you were stuck, it could tell you were stuck, and it suggested three next sentences or a next sentence for you that seemed like it would work.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that was an LLM like live in the moment deal.
yeah. That's yeah, and I can tell you right now, when I was like coding full time or writing code full time, I'm saying, man, I wish I had this tool like next to me,
Yeah.
like just to help me, because I would have saved a lot of people yelling at me, a lot of arguments with me, and a lot of people saying I was dumb behind my back and whatever. Which, like we stated before, I think in private conversations, the man in the arena. So you just you take your blood, sweat, and tears. I might have walked away with a few less scars, but still, I would have been.
Yeah.
It would have just been so helpful, and you, you
Hmm.
know, and like you said, you're not always going to have a calculator in your pocket, like we were told
No.
growing up. It's like, well, we got a computer,
We have a computer.
and yeah, and now we have AI. We have
I
a personal assistant
Yeah, we
in
have
our pocket
AI
right
on
now.
our computers, on our cell phones, which I believe they said has more technology in our cell phones than what we sent the astronauts up in the 50s and 60s.
Yes.
That blows my mind still to this day,
Yeah.
but I believe it.
Yeah. No, it's insane. It's
Mhm,
insane. But
yeah.
yeah,
So I'm not sure where we are with the time on this one. I think you have the timer.
no,
This is our first one, so
we just passed our mark right there. We were just kind of
we
going,
passed
and
our
then
about a
yeah,
half an hour mark. Well,
yeah, about an hour.
let's end this
Yeah.
with what we said we would want to. Let's talk about
Okay.
what AI tool are you currently using the most in your day to day?
Oh, most of my day to day, I would say I'm still using LLMs in my day to day.
Hmm.
I would say, anytime I'm stuck, I'd ask Gemini, what is, this or that or the other, and it kind of helps me out a little bit in that way.
Okay.
I've been dabbling with a little bit of music creation. I haven't really done a lot of notebook LMs or anything like that, which is something
Hmm.
hopefully looking to go through in that. And now people are integrating AI. I'm sorry about that. That sounded terrible. AI into existing products really,
Uh-huh.
and that's I'm probably using AI. I don't even know it. So it's kind of
I think anybody who has Netflix is now using AI.
yep, basically. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean I'm just using mostly LLMs right now. I'm trying to dabble into a little bit more on the development side. Um, Anything specific you're using right now?
Actually, I've been very happy with this. Oh, and I think we should say that these are non-paid promotions or whatever when we
Mm. Yeah,
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 we're not getting paid anything. But if you want to pay us, I mean,
yeah.
if if you feel a first
Hey,
podcast is worthy enough to pay us,
I will
yeah, I
not
think we'll
say
say
no.
yes. And you could pay us in non-traditional ways too, like Starbucks gift cards or anything like that.
Hey,
That would work.
I will take whatever. I will take whatever at
Uh,
this point.
Truth be told, the AI tool that I use the most is actually not an LLM. It's kind of, I guess, but it's
Mhm.
actually more of a search engine. I use Perplexity AI probably daily. Have you ever used Perplexity AI?
Did not use have not used Perplexity. No.
Perplexity AI is like Google on steroids,
Hmm.
except it doesn't function as the SEO as much. So the search engine optimizer, it's not looking for certain words. It breaks down the topics very quickly. And what I love is when you give it a search, when you search something on there, it provides you the sources that it got it from. So it'll give you five sources. So if you pick up a topic, like if I was to research what are the industry based credentials high school students are getting in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area,
Hmm.
it'll pull, it'll give me the best answer it can give me, but it'll show me where it got its answers from, whether if it came from five websites, if it came from four websites, and then it gives you suggested follow-up questions underneath it, and it
Okay.
has the answers to those as well.
Nice.
Beautiful device. I love it for learning and breaking things down and getting answers. And then you can actually go to where these answers are. Right now, my work, we're developing an AI policy. I'm very excited about this. I feel we did this the correct way. We spent over a
Hmm.
year asking ourselves, what can AI do for us in the behavioral health and education industry? Now
Hmm.
that we've had a year with AI, we're starting to put together a policy that'll keep our kids safe, our kids' data safe, keep our employees safe. And we're doing these things. Well, what did we do? We began our policy by going on Perplexity AI and pulling from sources that were there to develop our policy. Great tool, not necessarily an LLM. It's more like a search engine on steroids. And it's probably the tool I
Okay.
use every day.
Okay.
Yep.
That's yeah. I'm gonna have to take a look at some other ones. I mean, there's the obvious ones,
Oh,
and
yeah.
yeah, I think
Um,
when you start to dig into more tools, the less obvious ones might actually be more helpful
yeah.
for specifically. So that's definitely something to look into.
Yeah, there's a lot of specific ones, but I still feel it always comes back to the big three when all's said and done. I
Hmm.
call the big three ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini. I know
Hmm.
there's others out there. Grok can be very entertaining when you're when you're in an interesting mood. You can really have a
Yeah,
night.
we also promised not to get political. So.
That's right. Oh, yes, we did say we would get political, and all of a sudden, Grok is political. But Grok did at one point was my favorite image generator
Hmm.
for
Oh
many
yeah,
reasons.
yeah.
But yes, that's it was a good tool for that as well. I just don't think it performs to the layman like GPT does at this time, like Gemini, or
Yeah.
even like Claude. I still feel like Claude is very underrated for
Hmm.
what it can do, but it does seem people in the technology industry use Claude the most. It seems to me like they're the ones that pick Claude.
Yeah, it's like the Linux of the LLM world, really.
I got that one. I knew that one.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So, anything you're working on right now? I
Uh,
don't.
the big thing, well, at work, we're working on the policy, but something that's cool that I'm doing is I'm a little bit of a history nerd, and I decided to combine history with art. I'm not good at art. I was never good at drawing. So
Hmm.
I'm trying to use ChatGPT to research what artwork was like and most popular during a president's term. So if a president had an 8-year term, what style of artwork was popular in America? And I'm
Huh.
trying to get the AI to make a prompt to give me an image in that style of artwork that summarizes the president's
Huh.
tenure or the term of the president for that year.
Huh.
I've had some really,
Interesting.
there's been two deep ones that really impressed me. Very much impressed. There was a Franklin Pierce one that I, I was blown away. I had no idea how deep it was when, as a historian looking at it. Most people would look at it, wouldn't think a thing, but I was pleasantly surprised. So when I'm done with that project, Lord knows when it'll be, but when I'm done with that project, I do plan on putting it on like a Google Sites and just putting it out there so that people can view it, what it is, and how I did it.
Okay, very nice.
Very
Yeah,
nerd.
yeah. Personally, I'm not going to say the company I work for right now, just for NDA purposes. I'm just kind of trying to learn how we're integrating uh AI into the product line and everything like that. That's
Hmm.
basically all I'm learning right there, and maybe some. fun stuff on the side I'll get into. Like I've been
Hmm.
trying to do some creative ideas using generative AI
Nice.
for like video games or board games or something like that. It's
Right.
kind of a little bit of a passion project. But yeah, I'd like to go into more detail as to what I'm doing at work, but I'm probably going to have to refrain from that right now.
Well, hopefully a year from now, you're able to say, "Hey, you saw this big project that came out and got announced? Well, that was the one I was working on." So
Yeah,
hopefully,
yeah,
we're
maybe.
hopeful for you.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see there. But anyway, I think I'm ready to wrap it up. Adam,
All
any
right.
last thoughts maybe?
No, that's the first one, and I know we've talked about this. I'm excited about this endeavor that we're
Hmm.
going on here. We're two guys who like to talk about AI, and we want to have more targeted episodes that are not
Yeah.
necessarily intro and very specific in the
Hmm.
near future. And hope people will join us and spread it word of mouth or on social media that we started
Absolutely.
this for you guys, and we're definitely going to want to hear from you
Yeah.
as soon as we can. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm excited too. I just want to demystify what AI actually is and get away from the T1000 Skynet attitude about AI and kind of, I mean, I guess my final thought is, don't let AI replace humans. Don't let AI make humans better. I want humans to use AI to make themselves better.
That's so funny because in education,
That is my final thought.
I want the kids or the people interacting with it to be in charge. I
Hmm.
want them to use it for their benefit.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah.
So anyway, signing off. This is
Yes.
Brian,
And this is Adam.
and we will see you guys next time on the Layman's AI. Bye for now.